Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is Troy from Cichlid Bros. Today's video, I'm going to be giving a basement tour of all of my aquariums. If you're new to the channel, I currently have 5 basement aquariums, and my brothers Quinn and Alec have another 6 or 7 tanks on their own. But today, we're going to be focusing on my aquariums. I've had a lot of upgrades and updates to some of my aquariums, along with some breeding and some baby fish in one of my tanks, and we'll walk through all of that today, along with just future plans and upgrades that are coming soon. If you haven't done so already, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate it. And guys, let's dive right in. So starting off here with my 180 gallon South American cichlid tank. Since setting the tank up about 10 months ago, I've added a few new fish such as the Oscar, the true parrot, and the chocolate cichlid. The rest of the fish in this aquarium have been in there since day one, and they've been doing really well, and there's just been a lot of growth in this tank. I currently have 7 Geophagus tapajos that I've had here for a little over 2 years now. They have a lot of great red color and color in their bodies and fins as well. They're just one of my favorite all-time fish. And then I have 3 Severums, starting with my gold Severum named Big Red. I named him Big Red when he was younger, and he had a lot more of that red coloration and red spotting, but that's faded over the years and he's much more golden looking now. And then I have my turquoise Severum, and he is looking great. And then I have my red shoulder Severum, who I'm still waiting to color up and get that red shoulder. He does have that blue face, but I'm just impatiently waiting right now.
It's been 84 years.
And then I have my Oscar named Nessie, who I've had about 10 months now. He gets a little snippy and aggressive with some of the other fish in this aquarium, as he is probably the tank boss already, but he never really causes any damage, and overall it's a pretty peaceful tank. And then I have my chocolate cichlid named Bigfoot here, who is doing great since I put him into the 180 gallon aquarium a few months back. And then lastly, I have my true parrot, who I named Blue. He changes colors very often, basically a chameleon. Sometimes he looks light blue or dark blue, and then sometimes he gets the stress bars or has the tan coloration along the top of his body. Usually that comes out when it's feeding time and everyone's aggressive in the tank, but usually he's that dark blue color. And then lastly, I do have a bala shark in this aquarium. It's one of my personal favorite fish and really an oddball when it comes to a South American cichlid tank. But he fits in just fine and does really well with this group, and it's one of the more active fish in the tank, always swimming back and forth, and I definitely recommend a 6-foot tank if you're going to have at least one bala shark, and even larger if you can, especially since bala sharks do well in groups. I recently added a second FX6 canister filter to this 180 gallon aquarium, along with extra Chemi Pure Blue, and the water clarity in this tank is probably the best it's ever looked, and I'm just really excited to watch the growth and evolution of all the fish in this tank. So next up, we have my 48 gallon saltwater reef tank. This tank is currently cycling, and really it's done with its cycle. So to get this aquarium cycling, I was using drops of ammonia paired with Turbo Start from Fritz. The Turbo Start probably wasn't all that needed since I waited so long for the cycle. It probably would have happened naturally, but it was a nice kickstart to make sure this was going well. I've added a few ammonia drops over time throughout this process just to make sure there's a source of food for the beneficial bacteria to continue growing and establish in this aquarium so that I can add fish safely, and I'm going to be doing so very soon. I've also been testing the water regularly just to make sure I know when the cycle is occurring and when I'm ready to go. As you can see here, the nitrates started building up in this tank. Also, you can see a little bit of algae growth on the sand bed in the back corners. I've only kept the lights on here and there when I'm filming videos because I didn't want algae growth to really take off in this tank. So right after filming this video, I'm going to turn off these lights and I'm going to let it go a few days without light before I add the fish. I'll also do a couple water changes before adding fish just to make sure everything's safe before adding them. But there will be a new video on this aquarium very soon where I am adding the fish.
At last.
So next we're going to go check out my planted aquarium on my desk, And then we're going to finish the video with a couple of my aquariums in my storage room, which is the start of a fish room right behind me. So next we have my Waterbox cube here on my desktop. This is a Waterbox cube with an apistogramma and 2 autocinkless catfish. I just love the apistogramma in this tank. He's fully grown and has a ton of color and personality. He's always watching me while I work and begging for food. He also eats out of my hand willingly. He's just one of my pals that I work with every day. I have a couple easy to care for plants in this aquarium with some crypts and some Amazon swords. I couldn't get the dwarf hairgrass to take off, so I'm going to try a different type of carpeting plant moving forward. So maybe an update to come there. So there are some future plans for this aquarium. I would really like to get a bigger home for this apistogramma along with some more tank mates. So I'm likely going to set up a bigger aquarium in my fish room, and then my brother Quinn is likely going to take this aquarium for his classroom and add it to the 4 others that he currently has. But I'm really going to enjoy this aquarium for now, as it really does make working from home just a little bit easier. Okay guys, so now we're here in my fish room and we're here with my African shell dweller tank. This is a 33 gallon Fluval Flex, and I only set this up about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I'll put that video of the full setup down in the description below. You may be asking yourself, why does this tank look pretty rough and there's some definite algae growth? Well, there is a reason for that. Some of the more exciting news is that we do have babies here.
Buckle up, baby, are you kidding me?
My shell dwellers wasted no time establishing their homes in the shells and moving the sand around, and also starting to breed already. It currently looks like I have about 3 different sets of babies in different areas of the tank. The last I counted, there's about 10 fry that I could see, but a lot of them are within their shells, so sometimes it's hard to see them and to count. But after seeing the fry in this aquarium, I decided to leave a lot of the algae growth on the glass and on the shells and sand, so that the fry could kind of graze on that along with the food that I'm giving. After they grow up a little bit, I'll scrape off some of the algae, as normally I'm pretty OCD about that. So now I have the original 8 shell dwellers I started with, along with all the different fry in this tank, and it's going to grow and establish a colony very quickly, which is great and what I really wanted. I knew that starting off with African shell dwellers, that my natural water in my area was great for them. It's very hard and high pH, so that's ideal for a lot of the African cichlids, but I just didn't know it was going to happen this quickly, so I was pretty surprised when 10 days after setting up this aquarium I already had fry. And if this rapid growth continues, I might have to set up other tanks for spillovers and to grow out some of the fry to eventually give to some of my local fish stores or friends. We'll see how it goes, but right now I'm just really excited to see these guys grow up. So last but not least is my 75 gallon aquarium. I've had this tank for about 3 years now, and it's gone through a ton of changes throughout the years, but currently it's a mixed American cichlid tank. I currently have 3 Geophagus vini, 1 Nicaraguan cichlid, 1 electric blue acara, and 1 rainbow cichlid. I also have 2 Synodontis petricola catfish in here, which I've had for a little over 2 years and I've seen only a handful of times. Although these guys are just starting to grow out, they all have awesome color. Starting with the Geophagus here, these guys already have awesome blue and red coloration coming in, and they're just going to be showstoppers when they're adults. After another 6 months or so, these guys may move into the 180 gallon aquarium. I'll just see where I'm at in terms of stocking and aquariums that I have at that time and see what move makes the most sense. Then I have my little rainbow cichlid here who is doing just fine. And then lastly, I have my Nicaraguan cichlid. She is an absolute beauty.
Wow, what a beaut!
But she's also a bit of a terror. She not only picks at a lot of her tank mates just to establish her dominance, but she also digs more than any cichlid I've ever kept. Before filming this video, I flattened out all the sand and made this tank look nice. However, by tomorrow morning, she's just going to dig it all up and it's going to be rearranged everywhere. With some of these considerations, I'm wondering if it's even worth keeping the Nicaraguan cichlid in here. But she is a beautiful fish with a bunch of amazing colors, so I think it is worth it for now. We'll see where things go with her in the future, if I ever need a rehome or just get a different tank set up for her specifically. So future plans for this room, I obviously have the 75 gallon here along with the African shell dweller tank on the other wall. I have plans to get a different stand for the African shell dweller tank and maybe have a 40 breeder or some other size underneath it. And then I could upgrade the 75 gallon aquarium or add another tank on the other side of it. I'm still planning those out, but a lot of exciting things still to come. If you're interested in any of the equipment, chemicals, food that I use in all of my aquariums, I'll leave links to those down in the description below. And also I'll leave a link to the new merch that we have. We have a bunch of new t-shirts and hoodies that came out on Teespring, and we'll leave that down in the description as well. I hope you enjoyed the tour of all my different aquariums and hearing about the future plans to continue growing and upgrading. Can't wait to show that on the channel. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next week.